Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest
Down to the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum, and welcome back to Stardom Quest, the best weekly Stardom podcast anywhere in the world. I'm as always Alex, and I'm joined by Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
Hi, Alex. Hi, everybody. Yeah, we're here. Busy week. It's Golden Week. Happy Golden Week to everybody. Obviously, that doesn't really matter since we don't have many Japanese listeners, I imagine, um, or
Do we not?
listeners in Japan. If you are, shout out to
Oh,
you. You're
actually,
a
I
real one.
think there's a sizable number who have moved there since
Hmm.
over the course of our run. So we are, I do believe, we rank or chart in Japan.
Shouts out. We're
So
big in Japan. That's huge.
yeah,
Um,
apparently.
but yeah, happy Golden Week to everybody, and we have a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do. And instead of starting with Marigold or the news, we're just going to go straight into the big show that
Oh wait,
happened
can we
this
plug?
past
I
week.
forgot. I have a plug I need to do.
Okay.
The new No Limit Wrestling show, episode 9 is out. What came out Sunday, I think. Um, Me and Xavier were joined by our good friend Smiley to talk about some Wrestle One. Um, for people here, that might not sound very interesting, but we did get to talk about Venny versus Hana Kimura, uh, the match that was right before the Florida run started. So that was a lot of fun. We didn't talk about that much because it was kind of there actually wasn't that much to it because it was right after Hana came back from Mexico. Um, so most of it was just, oh, she has a tan and she has some Mexican stylings to her. And otherwise it was a really fun time talking about some you know the majorly missed Puro company in Japan because damn, is it felt that Wrestle One is not existent anymore.
Is it? Is it though?
It is because Glate tried to be Wrestle One and they failed miserably, and it's very depressing.
But yeah, but that's what happens in Yoshima. Like,
Yeah, I know that's also what we were talking about. Is that it's like, man, if like Kaz Hayashi just like stiff arm Shima out of that company, I think everything would be better. But you know,
maybe, maybe.
but yeah, that's the No Limit Wrestling Show episode 9. That's on the YouTube, the 5 Star Network YouTube channel. You can look up No Wrestling, or No Wrestling, No Limit Wrestling Show on YouTube, and it should come up. So go check that out because I enjoy doing that a lot.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, we can get into the big show. This was Runaway Wrestler Presents
Well,
All Star Grand Queendom 2024. This was in the Yokohama Buntai, and this had 2,735 fans. So that was higher than what I was expecting when we were looking at the ticket thing last week, and there was nothing sold out. I was like, "Holy shit, this is going to like fall on its face." But it ended up being relatively full. Um, Obviously, we this is the first time wrestling has happened in this venue since it was reopened, so I don't
mhm.
know what other configuration you could have, but it did look relatively full. There was some discussion. Obviously, this is down like 2,800 from All Star Grand Queendom last year, but that was kind of a once in a lifetime show. The first Joshi show in Yokohama Arena in decades, a venue with a lot of history with Joshi wrestling. So
Mhm.
obviously, people were like, "Oh shit, Stardom is there. This is
Also
something to
ran
go to."
their biggest match, which was Julia Tam.
Julia Tam, Mercedes Moné, and Mayu Utani, which was
Yeah,
like a dream match for a long time. Siri and Chihiro Hashimoto, Restart was on that card. Like, that was another level of loaded. You're not going to see a card like that for a while, I would imagine. So I think all things considered, this is a really, really strong number that they could definitely build off.
oh certainly. I mean, this entire card felt like an embarrassment of riches for them, where it's like, even though they had a handful of people leave, their roster is still kind of absurd, and it could carry a card to being a tremendous card, one of the best cards of the year, um,
Hmm.
and a weaker card at that. Like we kind of criticized it last week. That's like There were matches that we were obviously excited for, but there were definitely issues going into the show. With just like I'm gonna use the word for the first time. With the vibe going into the show was definitely not as strong as it was going into last year's, um, or things of the sort. Uh, it was better than last year's year-end show though, vibe-wise going into it, because that was really bad. Everybody
Oh,
was
the
kind of
Micah
like, "What's
Suzu.
going on?" Yeah, other than Micah
Oh
Suzu,
yeah.
everybody was like, "Okay, huh?"
Yeah, no, that December show was full. The wheels are falling off. Like
hmm
something needs to go right for us, please. So yeah, definitely, I would agree there. We're a lot better off than we were 4 months ago. Even if there is no more Rossi or Utami or Mirai. So,
Julia, which
but yeah, but
Julia's pretty rough by that point.
she was gonna leave
Um,
either way.
yeah. One random thing. I like I usually hate LEDs in wrestling venues. I thought they looked pretty cool here. I kind of like them. I hate the new presentation of pro wrestling, especially in America, where it's just like a bunch of screens. But here I kind of thought like it kind of fit the vibe, and I thought it worked very well. So I like the stage setup. It's a shame that the main event did not go anywhere near the stage setup like I was hoping and expecting it would. Uh, but yeah, I like the layout. It looked pretty cool.
Yeah, I love the production. I was
Yeah.
gonna say that the pictures on either side of the Tron
mhm,
is really cool. I feel like they stole that. Was that a Gaia thing? Did Gaia do that? I think
I
Gaia
think
did
so.
that before.
Yeah.
And it looks great. So yeah, if you can keep that up whenever you run here, keep it going because it does look really nice. I think their big stage as well always looks pretty. Like they don't
mhm.
just do LEDs to do LEDs. It's very purposeful.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's what I noticed is that it's like just it looked cool. I liked it a lot.
Mhm. All right. It was 2 pre-show matches. I don't even know if these aired. I imagine they did.
They did.
Um, did anybody
I
watch
was
them
doing
in the
I
world?
was doing something else while they were on in the background.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you a thing about the second match. The first match I do remember Momo winning with her cool finish, like her like over.
Nectar Peach, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's all I remember from that one.
Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't see these, but yeah, Momokogo beat Rana, which is, obvious. And then Unimon and Aya Sakura beat Lady C and Rian when Unimon
Mhm.
pinned Rian with the TP Sunshine, which I'm assuming is the superhero clutch thing that Okabana does.
No, it's. I think it's her like move, like
Is it?
her physical move.
Oh,
Yeah, I forget
oh,
what move she hits. I think it might be like a.
I
Is
thought
it
it
a
was like a
cradle
tropical
shot?
something.
I don't remember what her finish is. I don't watch Unimon that much. I'm gonna be real.
Well, we don't watch her win.
Yeah,
That's probably
especially.
yeah. Well, that's fine. The first match of the actual card, kind of as expected, was a Future of Stardom title match. Arena beat Siaka Kara in 9 minutes with a diving double knee drop. Um, this is right in line with
Shouts
what
out Chris
Rena's been
Wolf.
doing. Yes. Right in line with Rena's kind of in this situation. Solid, fun. Good heel babyface dynamic. It's kind of what she's done. She does at this point.
Yeah, I think this was a bit weaker than some of her defenses, her recent defenses. But I still thought it was good. It wasn't like it wasn't a big fall off by any means. Uh, I think that her match against Moran was just like kind of insane, as was her match against Suzuki. So it's like how do Saka Kurara had a hard time living up to two of the you know golden rookies in Joshi right now. Who would have thought? Uh, but yeah, I thought it was a very good match. Generally, I liked some of the offense that they pulled out. Carrara pulled out a sliced bread cutter. I don't know if you peeped that, where she ran up the turnbuckle with the sliced bread, but then just like Dudley dogged off of it. If that makes sense. I'm just using a bunch of like wrestling words that sounds like it's gibberish, but this all makes sense. And if you know the moves I'm talking about, she did a cool cutter that was like a Dudley dog or a sliced bread, and I thought that was cool. And yeah, Rena continues to impress.
I am kind of ready for Rena to drop soon, but I know they're kind of waiting for Hina to come back because she challenged Hina
She kind of
and
needs to lose it
she's
like
still hurt.
very soon. Um, because she's about to break the record, or she's about to tie the record, I think.
She is, and she's running out of opponents as well, unless they want to do a Miyu Misaki rematch or something. But even then, I
Well,
think
no,
Miyu,
they still have Rana, Rian, and then a rematch, and Hina.
I guess. But I mean,
They
Rian really
technically
shouldn't be challenging,
no, she shouldn't. But they have like 3 matches at least.
I guess. But they definitely, I feel, need to kind of move it to something else.
Yeah, I don't know. She doesn't have much herself. Like for the belt, it could be cool to have like some of these wrestlers challenge. But for her, I don't know. Like she's definitely hitting the ceiling um, of the future division. She could definitely move up at any time.
Yeah,
Cause like
although New Blood coming
she's
back,
like
she kind of has something there.
isn't she like 17 now?
I
Or
have no
between
idea.
17?
No
I
clue.
don't know. Uh, but yeah, they're getting older, so it's like
Mm.
they can start doing actual wrestling things like Hanan started when she was around 17.
Yeah, I'd imagine she'll be doing some Oedo Tai stuff before long.
Mm.
So I don't know. I mean, she can keep it obviously, but I definitely think there's other things you can do with the division because they've tried to force this like her versus the new gen thing. It doesn't really work. Um, I feel like there's other people that could do it better. Like we thought Kevin would win because Kevin
Mm.
had this inbuilt kind of I'm the senior of this generation kind of thing. But obviously Yuzuki kind of going eliminated the obvious next choice then. So
I think the thing with Rena is that she's been doing both, in that she's like been the champion who wants to face outsiders, and she's been the champion who wants to test the new generation.
mhm.
So she's been double dipping, and that's gotten her defense record so high that it's just like, oh,
Yeah,
we're here now. Okay, cool.
what she's can do, but I mean, it's obviously good to get her these kind of reps like it was with Hanan, but it's definitely like, okay, it's time to start planning what's next for this belt because you do have a very interesting class to work with that should be kind of getting involved now. Um, that was that match, and it was a solid opener. The next match was the Konami return match. It was Konami, Sareee, and Ami Soria of God's Eye beating Xena, Wakasukiyama, and Hanako of Enex's V. Konami beat Waka with the triangle answer in just under 12 minutes.
That shit's still operating now, 100%, baby.
That's true. That's true. I mean, aside from being a showcase for Konami, this really wasn't a lot. It was kind of boring as well in
It
the
was quite
middle. I
boring,
thought.
yeah.
Like, the Konami Xena thing was good. I thought that was a really good, like, "Hey, Konami is still with it, she can still go with one of Stardom's most consistent wrestlers." Um, but then it was, like, Konami, Waka, and I was like, "Okay, I'd rather watch anything else right now." So, it started well, and it ended okay, but definitely the middle portion was just a bit bland.
Yeah. Um, Sorry, my phone says that it's out of service, and I'm hoping that my computer does not do the same. That's why I'm concerned. Whatever. Uh, yeah, I agree. I thought that Xena, as usual, was kind of cool, but otherwise, I thought that like everybody kind of didn't do as good as they could have done in this scenario. Um, Xena's new gear is also cool, and the coat looks awesome. Um, Otherwise, I thought this match was pretty middling. I don't remember too much from it. Uh, EXV just ain't really my thing unless Mina and Micah are and Xena are like the main ones. I think Waka and
Mhm.
Hanako uh very actively sink the ship a bit. And it's not even that I think either of them are bad. I just think that both of them together in tags and multi-persons just doesn't work very well.
Waka
Um
doing all the ass stuff is so shit.
that too. I
Like,
mean
she's
Waka's
really good at a certain role, and it is not tapping
yeah.
people with her hips. It's
She's
like it's
And I would argue that she's not good enough to, like, be shtick, because
no.
then it's just shtick, and then what's left, the 10-15% that's left, isn't good enough to be like, "Okay, but there's that."
Mhm.
Like, it's not I just don't get much out of Waka Tsukiyama, in the year 2024. So, yeah, I think when her and Hanako are both in these, you know, trios and 4-on-4s and 5-on-5s, it usually you know, takes a dip in quality for me personally.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But I do understand this match was the Konami showcase. It was meant
Yeah,
to
yeah.
reestablish her as a key player. This is good for God's Eye because they need to replace Mirai, and I don't think Ami is quite the wrestler to slot in there. So Konami is much
They
better.
should book Nanami since she's still in the group
That's true.
technically.
You're in Tomoka. Tomoka
Yeah.
is also still in the group, but
hmm
here
I
we
mean,
are.
I think Mirai said that she is also technically still in the group because she's not the leader, so she could just be like, away. But she like Utami like renounced her leadership of Queen's Quest. Mirai's like, no, I'm still in I'm still in God's Eye. It's just that I'm not
That's
around
fair.
anymore.
That's cool. That's pretty fun. The next match then was the High Speed Championship match. Saya Kamatani won the championship by pinning
Mm,
Fuki in death in a four-way in just under 7 minutes with a Frankensteiner. The other competitors were Saki Kashima and Saya Ida. Um, yeah, I thought this was good. Um, there was some really fun stuff, mainly with the Sayas, the two Sayas. I liked
mm,
Saki. I think this was when I was like clued in. I was like, Saki is one for the house show freaks because she tried to do the bit from the house shows where she steals the win at the end, and it
mhm.
didn't work this time. And I was like, that's great. That is why we love Saki Kashima. She is like so smart.
I don't know.
She'll do stuff
It's
like that.
it's really interesting because like you're right, but also Sai Kashimo was hurt, so she couldn't wrestle in the
Yeah, but I
match.
think she was hurt after because
No,
she
she was
got
hurt
in just
before.
fine, and then it was after the first attempt at the revival that I think her ankle was gone. So I don't know.
She I don't know. I think Peps noticed like or maybe it was Velka. I was talking about them the other day. Uh that like last week she was like pretty noticeably like her ankle was just not like she wasn't walking very well.
Mm,
Like even like walking to the ring. So I think I think worries about her being injured might be why this became a four-way. Uh
maybe, yeah.
because I imagine they might have been like, oh, I don't know if Sai Kajima can go a straight singles against Sai Kamatani, even if it is just 5 minutes long, uh, her ankle might be completely shot, and I think that's probably why she's been doing this gimmick lately in the three-way matches and hasn't done a wrestling move in a couple weeks, uh, except for the revival. But
I
yeah,
think you're
I thought
underplaying how smart and funny she is. I feel
this
like
is
she
also
would have
true.
purposefully tried to do this, and then maybe got hurt along the way. Because she definitely started fine, but she aggravated something towards the end. And she's been pulled from the shows since, so she definitely is hurt
Yeah,
to some degree. We just don't know what.
yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, she I have a hunch that she was hurt beforehand, and that's why this match went the way it did. But
Hmm.
also, it played into Sakashima's character perfectly, so it's like, hey, that's cool. I
Definitely.
also imagine that's why Kamatani won, though, is that I think
She
Kashima's
might have won
ankle might be a
anyway.
bit.
I think
Yeah,
the new regime is maybe opening up this division, and that's probably the best thing they could do is just get more people involved in this and just have the high speed belt be a match or a belt where you just have cool short matches.
they also have the wave of
Um,
it all, where they're
that
gonna
too.
have a lucha block, which presumably Sai Kamatani is gonna be in. So there will be new challengers that will kind of be that could be birthed from that.
Hmm.
Um, But yeah, I thought Sai Kamatani and Sai Ida did a great job. I've always said that I think Sai Ida could do pretty well with high speed because she's such a burst offense type of wrestler.
Yes.
Um, and she's not like a like she's not Natsuko burst offense. Like she is like a fast, like actively,
Well,
she's
she's
pretty
small.
agile.
Like
Yeah,
that's
exactly. She's
it's a lot
nimble, right?
different. Yeah.
But
Um, I do like Kamatani getting the belt, and I
yeah,
do
as well.
like her and Saida kind of being more involved. And Kamatani debuted a new red look, red and gold.
Mm.
So she basically was like, "Well, Utami's gone. I can finally go with cool colors that I like."
Oh yeah, and
Um,
Nina noticed that for the first time in a while, a Queen's Quest member has the cheetah print on her gear.
oh yeah,
She has it in specific areas, like on the knee pads and on like the rib cage, like on a part of her gear in the rib cage.
we're getting back to our roots, buddy.
Yeah,
But that
too
is that
bad
was
that
a
Queen's Quest is probably gonna die.
I wouldn't be so sure of that, but that was the high speed title match. We'll get a bit more onto that later because they did set up a first challenger for Kamatani already. So we're gonna have to get onto
Oh,
that.
did they? I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah, they did a lot today. Actually, I was gonna compliment the
Mm.
Taro Okada, but we'll get to that.
Oh, one last thing. Sai Kashima tried to like faked the honorable transfer of the belt, and like was like faking putting it around Sai's waist, and then ran off with it. And Sai
Yes, well
Kamatani
tried.
ran after her. But yeah, Sai Kashima also can't walk, so she didn't run very far. Um, and so Sai Kamatani was like latched onto it, and they were playing tug of war. And then I think one of them realized that like this belt is old and will rip if they try hard enough. So I like they both kind of let go and Sai grabbed it.
Incredible. Not incredible was our next match. Mina
Yep.
Shirakawa and Natsuko Tora wrestled to a no contest in 9.5 minutes because Thekla
Why
interfered
the fuck
and
did this go
hit.
9 minutes?
I don't know. This was meant to be an angle, but they decided to fill it with 9 minutes of very mediocre wrestling. The last thing I want to see Natsuko Tora do is sell her leg. Like that is so not her bag at all. Um, so I don't know. Like they jumped Mina to start the match, and I was like, why not just keep doing that and then do the Thekla thing? I don't think you needed to wrestle at all.
I mean, Nasco
Um,
didn't.
oh no, she did not. She just sold the leg, kind of. Um, so that was that. And then we got a swerve turn for Tekla, who pretended to save Mina, and then hit her with the pipe. I don't know why every turn involving a Oedo Tai has to be a swerve, especially when Tekla has absolutely no connections to Mina. Like nobody
Yeah, that would have
bought,
made it's
nobody
kind of
bought
dumb
this.
because
Yeah.
like if she did this to Micah, it would make sense. But the issue is that Micah had to win.
Yes.
So just
Yeah.
do this some other time. I don't know. Like
When I
also, why was
I
this a
I
no contest?
I don't know.
Somebody definitely should have been DQ'd, and I think it's the
Yeah,
heel.
Mina simply should have won, but
Yeah, like
sure.
Mina
Oh wait,
won
I
this
think they threw it
match.
out because the referee was just like, I have no control of this, but that was Oedo
Well,
Tai's
get
fault.
control until you can fucking disqualify someone, brother.
Exactly. This was very poorly executed,
Yeah.
kind of in every way possible. Um, I'm kind of we've said since the second swerve away at a tie turn that they don't need to all do this. Tekla could have simply beat the shit out of Mina and it would have had the same impact. But you know, that's that. I do like Tekla to Oedo Tai. It's a
When
very
was
natural fit.
I think B Priestley might unironically be the last like genuinely good, like full all round swerve turn for a Oedo Tai.
Um, Possibly, yeah.
Because that like her hugging Momo after Momo lost a title match and then just fucking kneeing her was admittedly kind of sick. Um,
I think Rena's was funny because she was just like, "Hey, Saki Kashima is cool. Let's go," and
yeah,
just
that's
ran
true.
off with her. That was great. So I like that one as well. But the other few have not been as good. That's another thing anyway. But I do like Tekla in a way to tie. It's a very natural fit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think that like Tekla I've been calling this for a while. Like since
Mhm.
DDM was like reaching its dying days, I was like Tekla's definitely going to a Oedo Tai.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I thought she was going to a Oedo Tai before DDM technically died. I was just like, oh, once they lose these trios belts, Tekla probably turns on them, and then it died anyway. So, but
Mhm.
yeah, I do. It was kind of funny the Tekla getting put on the roster page on EXV
Oh
and
yeah.
people being like, huh, this spoils something, and it actually was like a guerrilla tactic, which I thought was kind
Hell
of
yeah.
cool.
That was good. I will give them that. Um, yeah. What a waste of Mina Shirakawa for your big show. I gotta say. I
Well, I
feel
mean,
like even
she's
you
a
could admit that her and Tora should have like
oh
deserved
yeah.
much better.
I
Like
mean,
they're two very strong upper card
I
wrestlers.
texted you that it's crazy that like I guess the new administration just told Natsuko that she should never wrestle again. Um, because on the house show she doesn't try, which is fair. Not everybody tries on the house shows. I don't expect Natsuko to. She's a bit older. She has knee injuries. She doesn't have to. But then on every pay-per-view, she's just given an angle where she doesn't actually work at all. Like this was a 9-minute match of Natsuko Tora not working. Like it was just Mina kind of like doing shit and then being interrupted by Oedo Tai.
Mhm.
And then her trying to do more shit and then Natsuko being like, "Yeah, but I have friends," and then her friends beating her up. Like Natsuko hasn't done wrestling in a while.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We take what we can get here. The next match was the
Oh, and a
team of
very long
Aja.
promo ensued afterwards, by the way.
Oh yeah, dude. Tekla talked a lot.
Yeah.
And her main point was done in the post show as well. It wasn't done on screen. She just wants to like beat up all the idols. So
Which,
that's
yeah,
kind of
fine,
it.
I guess.
Yeah.
What I worry about, we'll talk about later, actually.
Okay. In our next match, the team of Aja Kong and Kyoru Ito, representing AJW in spirit, I guess, beat Tam Nakano and Natsupoi in 17 minutes when Aja won with a falling elbow drop, pinning Tam Nakano, which I was very surprised by. I thought Poi was in this match to take a pin, but it was actually Tam this time. You
Which,
tried to hype this. You tried to hype this up to me. You tried to hype up Kaori Ito, and I
this
want to
was
know why you tried to lie to me.
this was
Uh,
great. I don't
it
know what you're
was
talking
not.
about.
It was a spectacle,
This
and
was
as a
as good as the main
spectacle, it
event.
was good. No, as a
Yes.
spectacle, this was good, but that's all. The wrestling was not.
The wrestling was very good. Man, Natsupoi got her ass beat so hard that she sounded like she was like 7 octaves lower when she came up for a promo later. Because Kuro Ito fucking crushed her and
Yeah, because
killed
she
her.
couldn't
And that was
stand on her
so
own.
sick.
Kaori Ito just kept falling everywhere. It was
What are
not.
you talking? She was running. Kuro Ito ran. She put in effort. Like
I don't know, man.
actually, I
She
was
would do it. She
impressed.
would do a foot stomp and then like tumble over because she
Yeah,
couldn't
that's how
be damn
foot stomps
balanced.
work. Azumi tumbles over on the foot stomp.
I don't know, man.
That's how that happens. That's how foot stomp you I don't know if
She
you
would
know
like
this, but
fall in slow motion.
a human body is not a flat land to stand on, okay? Like give her a goddamn break. Um let me first of all, I'm getting a little bit heated, my bad. Uh Meltier's theme song way better than Tam's. That's all I'm going to say. Um Electric Eye also a banger even though it was muted on certain feeds
Oh,
and not
really?
muted
Oh,
on
I watched
others.
on Samurai. They played it all.
So yeah, it was muted on my feed, and then
Ah,
I went to a website to see if it was muted there as well, but it was not. So I was like, damn, I got
was
screwed.
it just the pay per view then that
I
was?
think yeah it was
Yeah,
it was.
sucks to
Um
suck.
yeah, no, I thought this was like very good. I was like I Going into it, I expected it to be bad, but I was like, "There's a world where this works very well," and I think we live in that world because I think Ito and Natsupoi really kind of got the best out of each other because Natsupoi is so fast and so smart. I thought Meltier were made to look way smarter than they ever have as characters in history, pretty much. Uh, because they're kind of like for as much as like they're super popular and super cool and good at wrestling, they're usually made to look kind of dumb just as human beings and just as wrestlers. But they looked like geniuses in this match because they were completely outsmarting their opponents, who were bigger and more seasoned, and theoretically would just crush them like ants if they didn't try to outsmart them in certain ways, and they did very well at doing that. Ito hit Poi with a like running drop kick, a Sareee drop kick, if you will. I wonder where she learned it from. Um, and it was just the nastiest thing I've ever seen. She ran, she bounced off the rope
I
and
don't
ran.
know
I
how
haven't seen that.
you're focusing on Ito and not Aja Kong. Like
Well,
Aja
yeah, because
Kong was
Aja
so
Kong
much better.
obviously did great. Like it's
Yeah,
Asha,
like Aja.
but
The
no,
thing with
I
Aja
think
too.
that is because
Okay,
Poi
you
did
gotta let
better
me.
than
You gotta
Tam
let me.
did.
You gotta let me. You gotta let me. Aja actually like was willing to let Tam like get the better of her. And if you don't watch a lot of Aja Kong, you kind of won't understand. There are some people where she will not sell for them. There are some
Yeah,
people where she will sell once, and that's like the big appeal. And then there's people who she genuinely is into and sells for.
yeah. It's like the difference between Wakana and Yuki Arai. Uh, like Aja did not want to suffer Yuki Arai like at all, and Aja took like a visual loss to Wakana for some reason. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I think that Natsupoi did better with Ito than Tam did with Aja. I think that's more so my point. And also, I'm more impressed with Ito because I've seen Aja have legitimate match of the year contenders in the past couple years. I haven't seen Ito have a better match than like a that was rough since like 2021, I think, and that was like a tag match where she was the fourth most active wrestler in it. Like, you know what I mean? So I thought this was a very good performance by her, and I thought it was a good performance by everybody. I think everybody walked out of this looking tremendous. I thought it ruled, honestly. This was I like this a lot. I'm standing by that stance. I thought everybody did great, like to the best of their abilities. You know, this wasn't like a great match because Karo Ito can't have a great match in 2024. That's obvious, but this was generally super well worked by everybody involved. They played to the story, they played to their strengths, and I thought everybody did a great job.
I mean, I wouldn't say it was a bad match. Like, I'm not saying it was bad. That's, I think for what it was, and given that the combined age of one of the teams was 105, like, it was good as a spectacle. I think you're a lot higher on the Kaori Ito performance than most people. I really didn't see much from her that was like, yeah, this is a good pro wrestler. But I do think Meltier did a lot and tried a lot to keep it going. I think Aja, Aja is obviously a really smart competitor. She knows what she can and can't do at this stage. So, you
Mhm.
know, she keeps it to kicking people hard and tossing Tam over her head like she's nothing. And so, yeah, this could have been a lot worse. But definitely when I look at Natsupoi, even to a lesser extent Tam, I'm like, you could probably be doing something a lot better on your, big annual event. Although I guess, wrestling two legends. But I mean, Aja is a legend. I think Ito's is a bit more iffy, but
Ito is also a legend, and she also trained Natsupoi. Like, what do you like? I don't know. I think you're
I feel like you're
underselling
throwing
the
around the term legend a
value
bit
here.
lightly with Ito.
I'm definitely not. No,
It's-
I throw it around lightly with certain people, but I don't think I'm hyperbolic when I call Ito a legend.
was she a world champion?
She was. What?
Really?
She, there's no way she. Wait, am I crazy?
I mean, around the time she would have been pushed, she was in the Zaps. So I don't know
Yeah, she was world champion twice
what years.
for 500 days in
Oh
2002.
my god. Okay, I mean, it's 2002.
We gotta talk about that.
Come on,
Okay, but she
come
also
on.
trained. She also trained every class of the fucking AJW dojo from like '99 until 2004. Like
That's
she like
literally
as a
not a single like. Come
Ayako
on.
Sato, who I just watched yesterday, still be good. She trained her. But no, my point is like I 100% think she's a legend. I think that she during her peak she was great, and during her
Okay,
post peak
we're
she
we're
was also
discussing
really
Kyoto
cool.
Ito
And
far too much. The
yeah,
point is,
she did very
I
good.
guess you could have done something better for Meltier, but I do understand the appeal of wrestling to known veterans who were in AJW, which is still very important to Joshi and like the wider fandom. So I get it. But yeah, definitely could have been better. Wasn't terrible. It thumbs in the middle. It has a 6.6 on Cage Match, so most people are kind of in the middle with me, I would think. So
I got my thumbs up, baby. Even I gave it a 7. Like it's not like it was a fucking 9 out of 10 or something, but
okay. Anyway, the next match was a Goddess of Stardom Championship four-way match. The teams of now I gotta wait for it to reload. That's great. This
would you
is
like me to say it?
incredible. Oh no, it's okay. I gotta do it. So the team of Crazy Star, May Sarah, and Suzu Suzuki retained in 11 minutes when they pinned. Please load and translate.
May
Please,
Sarah
this.
pinned Ruaka with the checkmate.
Thank you, thank you. The other teams involved were FWC and O2 Line. I swear to God, it is still praying and translating. But yeah, this was pretty fun.
This is
Four-way
great.
matches. as they were intended. Body going everywhere. Action, action, action. No storylines, no threads, no mix, just the stuff.
Well, near their end there was, uh, and it scared me, um, because Oedo Tai started cheating a lot for like the last like minute and a half. I was like, oh fuck, here we go. Um, but yeah, I mean, this was great wrestling. It's what you want out of this match, pretty much. 11 minutes. It probably could have gone an extra minute or two, but it was really just what you want. Um, Near falls were sick. I still love May Sarah's MX into the German suplex from Suzu. And they did that, but May Sarah also followed it up with the rolling star afterwards. And I was like, that's just the coolest fucking combo I've ever seen. Um, yeah, Koguma like fucking killed people with a splash with like all of like she like forcibly splashed onto a pinfall attempt. And Azumi looked like she like was in distress, seriously. Um, but yeah, I thought that a lot of this was super good.
I agree. The important stuff was all after the match, though. I think that's safe to say.
Oh wait, 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 wait,
Um,
wait. May Sarah debuted her finish.
yes. We don't have a name for it, as far as I'm
She
aware.
yes, yes we do. It's
But the
the checkmate.
checkmate. Oh,
I,
duh.
I
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a pretty crazy move. It's like the thing Tsukasa used to do, but like backwards. Like you moonsault
Yeah,
into it instead of jumping on them.
I think some people call I think like the popular name is the red eye.
Right.
Um I know Saki Akai hit used to have it.
Mhm.
What the fuck was it called? But yeah, Amazing Red used to hit it. He called it the red eye. It's the inverse red eye. So instead of a forward flip, she does a back flip over the
Yes.
opponent's body.
Like
Um,
it's
which
crazy.
is insane. Like physically seeking with your like going backwards is so much more scary than like I don't know. It's just doing a nonchalant uh moonsault like that is I don't know. It's incredible.
Very much
Yeah, I think
so.
it's a pretty cool move, and she did it on Ruaka, who, like, is not the best person she could hit it on. Like, Hazuki, if
Well,
because
I
I
don't
know
know.
Mesera
Rock
beat Hazuki.
base. You kind of need a good
She's a
base
good
for
base,
that.
but she isn't a good, bumper.
Uh, I would disagree.
She's
I
not a
think she's
bad
good.
she's not a bad bumper, but my point is that if she hits that on a Hazuki, Hazuki's gonna break 7 fucking bones on it, or make it look like that at least.
Yeah,
um, she'll like roll with her super aggressively. So the fact that she hit it so well on Ruaka makes me think this is a cool fucking move.
very fair. After the match, then Koguma and Hazuki were like, "Hey, this was a four-way, but we're in Fukuoka on the 5th, so maybe we should challenge you there and wrestle there." And Crazy Star were like, "Yeah, sure. I mean, you're persistent. That's
Koguma
okay."
fucking she walked up and started choking Mesero with the towel, and then she's like, "Okay, that's my bad. I just wanted the mic real quick." Um,
Yeah, she actually said we're crazy too, and I think
yeah,
that proved it by choking her with the
man,
towel.
I have thoughts about what might be next for Stardom and
Yes.
Stars
Well, we'll have to get to that because
because
after FWC challenged, everybody left the ring. For some reason, Starlight Kid tried to talk, but Raka beat the dog breaks off this woman. She was like, you are not talking today, and mugged her. And then all the way to Tai joined in, and Natsuko made it official by sitting on Kid, trying to rip the mask, being like, you're out of here. And from the distance, okay, this was the funniest thing ever. From the distance, you just see this shadowy figure, this sleep paralysis
bro,
demon, making its way to the ring,
after getting her
and
ass beat by Aja Kong.
like cleared out 20 minutes beforehand. And it was really funny because I, in the heat of the moment, had convinced myself that Kid and Stars were going to be the main thing. And so I see Tam Nakano come out, and I am ready to set the world ablaze because I'm like, what is Tam Nakano doing here? This is not your moment. Go away. And this would not be the last time this happened on this show. Um, not with Tam, but with somebody else. Um, And yeah, Tam
Yeah,
saves
the
Oedo
shadowy figure.
Tai.
No, this is the second. Okay, this is the second time a shadowy figure arrived, and it's like, oh, I didn't want you here. Um, of three on the show,
Mhm.
and they
Um,
all walked out in the same way. It was really
they
funny.
did, they did. So yeah, Tam saved Kid from the beatdown, and that was kind of interesting. And I mean, the big news is obviously the Kid is out of Oedo Tai, which is very abrupt. Kind of happened out of nowhere. We kind of discussed it, and I don't know if we really have time to dive into it. Oedo Tai is taking this weird tilt of like, if you don't want to be in Stardom, we're gonna kill you. Like they're like Mina, you want to be an American star, like go the hell away. We're gonna beat the hell out of you. And then Starlight Kid, a day before this show, is like, yeah, I might win the tag belts and go to Marigold. And then Tora is like, we don't need lukewarm people here. People like you and Mina, like we don't need y'all. So Oedo Tai is this weird like, if you don't want to be in Stardom, we're gonna kick the shit out of you. But if you do want to be in Stardom, we're also gonna beat the shit out of you. And
Because
I'm
we
like,
hate Stardom. It's like it
yeah.
doesn't make much sense, but
But maybe that's why they didn't
it's okay.
interfere as much in the main event. They were like, you know what, Micah wants to be here. Let's just let her prove
But that kind of
herself.
sucks ass. Because
Maybe.
eventually you're gonna run out of people who want to leave because they'll just leave. And then they have to go back to doing what they were doing before, and it's gonna be very inconsistent. But I guess it's just
It
heels.
is very
Heels are
strange, but
always
I don't think
inconsistent.
it's a coincidence that they turned the day after she was like, yeah, I'm heading to Marigold, fellas. So I did think that was an interesting wrinkle, but it's one that's going to be hard to keep consistent. Um, yeah, the Tam Kid team. I mean, this is kind of a throwback to older stars, so we are kind
Mhm.
of getting Kid to stars in a way. There was stuff on the house shows as well that seems to indicate that we are going to get Kid making amends with a lot of the baby faces, but I definitely think that's going to be interesting because that shouldn't just be an instant thing. You know, Mayu
It's
should not instantly be chill with Starlight Kid, given how Kid left stars.
it's
Hazuki
fascinating.
took to Twitter to be like, I don't
Yeah,
fuck with Kid. I do not want you here. So I think there's a really interesting story that you're going to kick off. But the biggest thing is, if Kid is in Cosmic Angels at all, I feel like somebody has to leave. And so is this just
it'd be
domino
Ano.
number two in a lot of dominoes that are falling? Because Thekla was domino one. Thekla to Oedo Tai opens the door for Kid to leave. Kid to Cosmic Angels maybe opens the door for somebody else to leave. Or if she goes to Stars, maybe Hazuki leaves. I don't
Yeah,
really know.
I was actually quick to this one too. I was like, the second that Tekla came in, I was like, oh, so Starlight Kid's like gone, either from the
Mhm.
company or at least from the group, because
Yeah.
Tekla's here now, so that doesn't really work. Um, and it turns out it was from the group for now. But I have a feeling I know what her favorite flowers come next year. Nonetheless, I think it's interesting. Like I'm more interested in Starlight Kid as a babyface, as everybody knows. I'm very
That was
interested in what
always
they
like
go with
the
from
big
here.
Kid push was gonna be as a baby
Yeah,
face. Like if you've never seen her as a baby face, it is different gravy. Like it is a
yeah.
different
She's
woman.
and like not she's likely a better wrestler now than she was when she was 18 years old, 19 years old when she turned. Um, so like I imagine that like if you kind of put those two things together, like the genuineness of her babyface run and
And the
the
better promos.
ability, yeah, and the better
She was a
promos.
funny promo at the end of that babyface run 'cause she was
Oh
like,
yeah,
"You don't if you wanna go to Mayu, you gotta get through me,
yeah,
homie." And it was like, "Alright, okay, chill out."
she was her mother's gun, right?
Yeah.
And I if she has that plus her physical abilities from now, I think she'll be fucking tremendous, and I'm really
Mhm,
excited for that genuinely. As for like the faction lineups, it's interesting because um, Starlight Kid to Cosmic Angels kind of makes sense because Cosmic Angels is like low key super treacherous. Um, it was born out of a conspiracy against Mayu, basically, um, a conspiracy within a subgroup of stars. Um, And yeah, so like Tam turned on Stars before Kid even left, and Kid was upset with
mhm.
Tam. So Kid was like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you." And then Starlight Kid is like, "Oh, maybe I should leave too, because I Mayu isn't acting quick enough, trying to get me back from that stip match." And so now we're here. I think it would make sense for Starlight Kid to go to Cosmic Angels because of like that fact that it's like she shouldn't be allowed back to Stars so quickly because she betrayed Stars in in a similar way to Tam betraying Stars, except you know one of them turned heel and one of them became a bigger babyface, I guess. Um, Tam is a lot like John Cena. Uh,
Don't
me,
don't.
I'm not going to go too much into it, but me and Widescreen were talking about the Embrace the Hate storyline, where John Cena was just like the big piece of shit you've ever seen, and somehow remained a babyface. And I thought about it, I was like, how the fuck does that work? Tam's doing that now. Um, but yeah, it would be cool. Kid going to Cosmic Angels. I think it would make sense. It would be insufferable, but it would make sense. Just in terms of their previous arrangements with stars, I don't think Kid can just
Yeah.
go back as easily. She might team
Well,
with Mayu, and that might ruffle some feathers, but I don't think that she joins back into stars. Plus, I'm kind of operating off the
mhm.
assumption she leaves pretty soon, so I'm not like particularly holding out on her being a long term thing for Stardom.
Yeah, we don't know with Kid because Fumi did kind of allege that she was meant to leave. But he also said that about Azumi, who seems to be happy to stay now. So like people can change their minds.
Yes,
I
but I
will
think
say.
of the
Um,
bunch,
but
it
Kid did
feels like Starlight
openly
Kid is
say
the
she was
more.
going to go to Marigold. So
Yeah, and
that doesn't
she's the
help.
one person who's like, "You're in Marigold now. Let's hang out, Fuka. Let's hang out. It's been a while. Let's chit
Yeah, I
chat."
mean,
A day later.
She saw Rossi involved with Nozaki and was like, I want him. Like,
Yeah,
I gotta get in on this. So 'cause she loves her some Nozaki and then the Neo ladies. So I can see it. But
valid.
yeah, there's definitely a lot of dominoes that I imagine will fall from here. And I think there's a very interesting path you can go for with Kid out of this. Because if she does stay, I feel like her going to babyface has to be finally pulling a trigger on her instead of constantly being like, she's like a big star, but we're not gonna give her the big wins just yet. Because last year in the GP, she got beat from pillar to post, so you
Yeah,
kind of have to improve on that a lot. Um, yeah, that'll be interesting to see because her in Cosmic Angels has been kind of fun already. There was the training video with Natsupoi where she was like, maybe Oedo Tai wasn't so bad. She was like, maybe Toro will take me back because Natsupoi is just a very funny counter to kids' behavior. So I could see it working like kind of well if they keep going in that comedic direction.
I
Um,
also can see it as like Natsupoi is getting moved up a bit. She's probably winning the white belt. Tam is, or yeah, Starlight Kid is Tam's new Natsupoi.
mhm,
Meaning it's Tam's new loser. You know, someone
you could,
who can win, but somebody who can lose if Tam needs to, be protected. Uh, if they want to move Natsupoi up a bit more, because
especially if
they're
Anno
definitely high on
goes because
Natsupoi. Also true.
Anno feels like somebody who could either pair up with Suzu soon or like be the Queen's Quest, like the replacement for Utami of sorts.
Mm,
Because
yeah.
she's very Queen's Quest coded, I will say.
Yes.
Um, yeah, we'll have to see with Anno. I know we've kind of been wondering when she was going to leave Cosmic Angels for since she joined, but it feels lined up now more than ever. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But that was that match and that post match angle. Kind of a fun time. Then we had for the IWGP Women's Championship, Mayu Iwatani beats Sareee in 20 and a half minutes with the two-step dragon suplex.
Mm,
This is my new match of the year. I think
mm,
it's going to be difficult to topple it, but I'm not ruling anything out because Arisa Nakajima is retiring in August, and we are probably going to get some of the craziest matches we have ever seen in between. So I could definitely see this being knocked off its perch, but it's going to be difficult because this was everything you could imagine it was when it's two of the best wrestlers in the world squaring off. I did say this would be our Danielson versus
yes.
Osprey. I was kind of right because from the second they made their entrances, I was locked in, and I
Yeah.
think most people were
Same.
locked in. It did not lose me for the entire duration.
Yeah. No, I agree. I still have it a smidge below the Shuri match for Mayu. And I'll get into that near a little bit later. Um, but yeah, that was fucking tremendous. I love that they had the actress who plays Mayu on commentary.
Mhm.
And she was like calling for Mayu, like she was doing like the Mayu, like because
The
she was
very
just
first
in
thing
it.
you hear when the
Yeah,
bell rings is her chanting for Mayu. It's great.
like she's like I've talked about the actress a bit where she cried because Fuka and Rossi were doing something together because she's like, I understand how meaningful
Yeah.
this is, and I like shit like that. Um, but yeah, I think that like the vibe surrounding the match was perfect, and it felt big, and yeah, I remember watching Danielson versus Osprey and being like, this is cool, but I don't know why people are already so excited. The first like 3 minutes, it was cool, and I was excited. You know what I mean? Like it was like
Mhm.
like they were just like doing some small stuff, and I was just like in it. Man, it was a fucking tremendous match.
I also like how it wasn't just like a trading moves kind of match. Like they actually did a lot of stuff within it. Like
Mhm.
Sareee was walking Mayu like a dog for the first 6 minutes. Like it was all one way traffic. She had the better of Mayu for the entire thing. And then there was that
Oh
one
yeah, I
slap.
mean, Sareee, she walked up to Mayu and just started saying, "Fight back, motherfucker! Come on, fight back, fight back!" And Mayu just stands the fuck up and starts trying to knock her out. It
Dude,
was
that
insane. That
it was
6 minutes in, like
yeah.
like my personal take is I think Sareee needed to wait a little bit because I think Mayu like for a second there she like she was like, okay, I need to calm down a little bit. We're 6 minutes in. Uh, but man, Mahi was looking for a fucking knockout, bro.
Yeah, like that one slap just flipped the switch in
Hmm.
Mayu because she got the slap and it was almost like, oh hell no, this isn't the performance center anymore. And she just unloaded. Like it was one of those moments where there was no specific like poise or accuracy. She was just throwing any part of her body at Sareee, and from there, this was just scrappy. It was a fight. They were just trying their best to like annihilate the other woman. It built on itself so well and it built on that opening exchange so well. Oh, even when like they got to the finish and they were just doing the crazy shit, like the three Uranagis back to back,
Hmm.
and then Mayu having to do the moonsault and the two step just to pin Sareee, it didn't feel excessive. It just felt like, okay, this is what you have to do to win because you aren't winning any other way.
Yeah, I thought, and I kind of like alluded to this in the Discord the other day or yesterday. Um, I think that like the way that they built the story, and this kind of is going to get into why I think that the Sherry match was better. And it's not because I thought this match was like had any weaknesses even, but I think I saw the story of Mayu kept hitting the dragon suplex, and I thought that was really cool because Sareee, like you said, was kind of walking her like a dog. Sareee was just dangerous. Every single thing Sareee did fucked Mayu up effectively. You know what I mean? Um, but then Mayu hit the dragon suplex on the apron, and that was the first time that Sareee was like seriously in danger. And from there, whenever Sareee would like get some bursts of offense, Mayu would like reverse it really quick, get behind her, hit a dragon. It was back to even. So it felt like Mayu figured out Sareee at some point in the match and was like, oh, she just sucks at taking the dragon. If I just hit her with the dragon, she's gonna lose eventually. Um, and she just kept doing that, right? And then with the finish, Mayu survived the several Uranagis. It was like 3 or 4. I wanna say she hit 1, went for a pin, didn't get it, and then hit her like 3 more times. And then she went for the wrist clutch version, and Mayu, once again, to reverse the move that would have beat her, uh, hit the dragon. And then eventually she won with the two-step dragon suplex. So what I'm trying to get at here is this match felt like Mayu solved Sareee, and I feel like there is another match where Sareee solves Mayu. Even if she doesn't beat her, I think that like there is room for a whole nother match that could probably be better than this one even was. And this was fucking tremendous. Like I said, this is my number 2 match of the year. Like it's incredible. But it reminds me of the Chiro Hashimoto matches, where the first one was great. Like Saree's return match was absolutely tremendous. And Chiro Hashimoto just like figured Sareee out, beat her. The second one earlier this year, which is my number 3 match of the year, I think you're seeing a pattern. Um, it felt like Sareee figured out where she was wrong and how Hashimoto beat her, and she like fought back with that knowledge, and it became an even more complete and even better match. So I'm hoping for a match too. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Is I think that these two have so much left. I mean, Mayu didn't even hit her super finish, and I say didn't even, but she didn't hit the um, poisoned Dragon Ray gimmick off the top. Uh, so I think there's a lot more that they could have done here, even. Uh, and yeah, I say that this was a tremendous match. I've been talking a lot. I'm gonna take a breath, but uh, that's my view of it.
Yeah, I mean, I would like a sequel, but I don't know how you get it in. Especially with Sari working Marigold and Mayu probably going to Marigold eventually. I don't know if they do it in Marigold or if Sari gets it for a Sariism. I know she does want to run Cork and Hall, and yeah, you could easily sell out Corkin off the back of her and Mayu,
Yeah,
and Sari getting the win back maybe because that's kind of how Sari works. Um, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed. I think you can definitely build on this. Sari is a very smart wrestler. Mayu is Mayu. They can make that work. Um, but even if this is all we get, I think they did enough to kind of sell it really well that like these are two of the best in the
yeah.
world at what they do, and you kind of got that sense from the match with how far they had to go just to get 2 counts and stuff. Like it was pretty incredible.
I also think this is
Um,
one of the best first halves of a match I've seen like ever. Uh, because the first 10 minutes were so fucking good. Like they weren't like they were building, but they were doing it in such a tremendously entertaining way that you
mhm.
couldn't take your eyes off of it. I think that's a struggle with matches that reach past 20 minutes. Actually, I think that this match and the next match had that to them, where it's like they really did a great job of like early on building a match that wasn't, it didn't feel like you were just waiting for bigger stuff to happen. It felt like stuff was happening, and then it just like started compounding on itself. Felt like that was a big thing about this match as well. Um, yeah, I loved it. I loved it to death. Tremendous match. Sareee is just man.
Sareee is insane. We need to
It's
thank
absurd.
WWE because Sareee pre WWE was really great.
Yeah,
I won't deny that. But something happened while she was stuck in Florida that lit a fire under her that has just like she's been on another level ever since. Like she is full chip on her shoulder, fire in her soul.
she's only
Just
28. That's fucked up, man.
it's incredible,
Because
you know.
because I was talking to Scotty last night about it. That's like the thing that sucks about people getting signed to WWE is that they waste their prime away. Uh,
Mhm.
like Kenta, maybe not his prime. Kenta had his prime, but he wasted like very important years that he could have legitimately became like the greatest wrestler of all time or like a top 5, especially male wrestler of all time. But he just wasted like 6 years, and then when he came back, he was just not. He wasted his prime years. Sareee, luckily, is 28 years old. And
Mm.
she's back with a fucking fire under her ass and is just the best wrestler in the world right now. I haven't seen her miss in a long time.
Her only technical miss is a 5-minute clipped match from
Yeah,
0-1. Like when it is her worst outing, that says a lot because
which was yeah,
people
like
didn't see
like the
half the
second
match.
match on the card. It was
Yeah,
10 minutes. It was a
I think
10
you only
no,
saw
it was yeah,
three.
it was a 10-minute time limit, so it didn't even have a
Yeah,
finish, I don't think.
it was 10 minute time limit, and then they clipped it to about four and a bit.
Yeah.
So you know,
So that's the only
not
match
her
that has been
fault.
considered like not great of her year
Yeah.
this year.
Um, as if that match wasn't enough, the post match, I I still don't fully like. I saw from the distance again, like heaven's gates had opened, and I saw this woman stroll out with the Tsukasa ponytail. And I was like, "Is this Tsukasa Fujimoto, or am I pulling a racism right now?" Because that looks a lot like Tsukasa Fujimoto, but there's no way that that woman is in a Stardom ring, okay? And then she steps forward a little bit, and the lights are shining, and you're like, holy mother of fuck, that is Tsukasa Fujimoto. Like one of the icons of the 2010s in Joshi, you know, uh, like led Ice Ribbon to being one of the big three during the kind of like revival era in Joshi or whatever people are going to call it eventually. Mm, Like this iconic figure stepping up to Mayu Iwatani. It's the kind of shit that you're like, that is never ever going to happen. And then it did. It literally happened in front of our eyes. And not only is she here for herself, but she challenged on behalf of the best friends, her and Arisa Nakajima, one of the many elite Joshi tag teams of the 2010s. Anybody's ever watched Joshi from the 2010s, the tag teams were fucking fuckers. Like it was
Yeah.
not okay how many of them were just elite territory. Some of the best shit we've ever seen. So her and Arisa are going to challenge Mayu in some form or fashion because Arisa Nakajima is retiring. And so Tsukasa was here to make the challenge. Her and Arisa versus Mayu and a friend. We don't know who. We don't know when, but it is going to happen. And it really feels like they might do a one-on-one match after that because I don't know how you don't. If the partnership is on between Stardom and Tsukasa or Stardom and Arisa Nakajima, I don't know how you don't do a Mayu versus either of them one-on-one.
Yeah. Mayu just getting to do a bunch of cool shit is the coolest. Like that's what I want from this year for Mayu.
Mhm.
Because it's her and Saree's, wrestler of the year race to lose right now. Um, like it's just insane, and I'm really excited for this match. I have a feeling, and this is like a bit of maybe fantasy booking, but I have a feeling they run this at Flashing Champions, and I have a
Hmm.
feeling it'll be Mayu and Shuri versus Best Friends because Mayu's movie comes out a day before Flashing Champions. So
Wow.
having the two people who like are the biggest names, the biggest wrestling names, uh, in relation to that movie, wrestling two of the like one of the best tag teams in Joshi of the past, couple decades. I think that's a good way to promote that movie one last time for the day after it releases.
I'd be into it. I
And
mean,
I also think that it's like if someone gets like theoretically, this is like casual fan brain, and I kind of hate doing this theoretical, but if theoretically somebody drags their friend to go see that movie the day it comes out on the 17th, and they're like, "Oh, that was really cool. I really liked that heel wrestler in it, and I really liked the main character. She seemed really cool." It's like, well, they're tagging together tomorrow. Isn't that cool? You know, what I mean, like I think that would be a smart tie-in to run Mayu and Shuri as the tag.
I would be into it. I think there's other theories for who Mayu might team with, and they're all exceptional. But I mean, either way, if Mayu interacts with either of the best friends,
Alternatively, it would probably be
it's good.
Hanan. That's the other possibility I was
That'd be
thinking.
pretty hype. I have seen
Yeah,
people float Yoshiko, but that seems impossible,
yeah, and that
considering
would be
she
kind of
fell
a
off the
fuck
face
you
of the earth.
to Seedling as well. Like
Well,
Seedling needs
well,
Yoshiko,
I
so
think
her coming back for a Stardom show would be a little not great.
I feel like the press you'd get for
Yeah,
that would be worth it. Like you'd get a lot of attention out of that. And you'd imagine Yoshiko might be around for Arisa's retirement thing. That might spur
you would
her on
hope.
to come
Yeah,
back. Um, Sareee might do it as well. She fights with the best friends a lot, so you could have Mayu and Sareee. But I don't know. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But either way, it's insanity, and we can only hope that they do get to sort out a singles match because Mayu and either Mayu and Arisa or Mayu and Tsukasa is kind of that's the good stuff right there. That is dream match stuff.
you know
Um,
what I never realized? Well, not that I never realized it, but I guess I just forgot. Sareee is just English. Like well, not English, but it's Roman. Like it's
yeah.
the English alphabet. So I was like looking through this page, and there's a bunch of Sarees, and I was like, that's funny. Along with all the Japanese text, just
Oh
Sareee
yeah,
in the middle of all of it,
good stuff. Um,
like
but yeah,
Kinosuke Takeshita.
that was a whole thing for
Yeah.
like half an hour. It was just constant like heart beating out of the chest kind of stuff there. Um, and I'm still not fully over Tsukasa showing up. They did interview Taro Okada after the guy Hasi. He got to speak to him, and
Mm.
Taro was like, "I don't believe in barriers. If there's something good to do, I'll do it." So him having no ops is the best thing for him and Stardom because he can just be like, "Hey, you want to work with us?" And people would be like, "Yeah, I don't hate you, so let's do it." Um,
Yeah.
especially in the short term, as he's like moving people into position, like your kids, like your Theklas, and building up his own stars. I think short term, if he can fill the gaps with Mayu, Sareee, Mayu, and whoever are his best friends, any other matches you're going to get down the line, I think that's really good for him that he's going to be able to rely on those to draw interest. And as while he takes his time to build the people that he wants to push, because it's not instantaneous. I remember Jim Ross, I think it was, that said like you have to give somebody 18 months in WWE to get their people over. To that TV
Mm.
audience. And I don't think that's wrong. I do think it takes a long time to get somebody to that level. So if Taro is gonna take his time and fill the gaps with partnerships, I think that's pretty smart.
Yeah, no, I'm not against it. And hey, we're only gonna get to talk about it briefly because we're already going pretty long. But like the Mace-era Haruka Umesaki match is a perfect example of that. Of just like
Mhm.
scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. Because that was a tremendous match, and it got Mace-era a world championship match. Like some much needed rep for Mace-era. In that like big time singles match setting, and it was tremendous. She did a great
Yes.
job. That helps your roster, and then when you need these outsiders to help help your shows, you can call in a Haruka Umasaki and she could do something. Obviously, Rossi was already doing that with a Diana, for example, but it becomes a bit more open because Rossi did definitely have some people that are not the biggest fans of. I mean, an Ice Ribbon wrestler showed up,
Yeah.
like
Not just an ice ribbon wrestler,
the Ice
the
Ribbon
ice ribbon
wrestler.
wrestler. Yeah. Like the symbol of ice ribbon was here. It's crazy. Um, but anyway, we have to keep going. Sadly, we do
Mm.
have to finish this show. So we had a Wonder Stardom Championship match. Sareee Ano defended against Hanan. She won in 21 and a half minutes with a special version of the Pottering roll up. So I have to give these two a lot of credit because
Hmm.
I was checked out for the start. My head was on cloud 10 with Tsukasa Fujimoto. The crowd was on cloud 50 with the match they had just seen before it. So they had to get people on side. Like they had to work to really get people into the match. I think they deserve a lot of credit because by the end, everybody was going, I'm all in on a Hanan win. They had an audience that had just witnessed an insane match, and they were able to go, "Okay, you saw that. Now we're gonna get you into our match." And I think that deserves a lot of praise.
Yeah, I saw this on Scott's show, right after like a few hours after the show happened, that for as great and legitimately as great as the Mayu Sareee rematch was, I think Hanan had the best individual performance of any wrestler on the card. Um, because I expect Mayu to get a great match out of Sareee, and I expect Sareee to get a great match out of Mayu. They could have done that in their sleep. Luckily, they tried really hard, and that was tremendous. Hanan versus Ano could have been bad. Like I didn't think it was going to be, but it could have been, especially having that match had just happened. You know what I mean? It really could have died with the crowd. Definitely. It could have just never really materialized. And it did. And in big part because Hanan was just so good in this
Mhm.
match as that babyface that you want to see win. That was just it it got me. You know what I mean? Like it a lot of people had that struggle, with this match that they were like still their mind was still in the match before it. For me, it's just like it captured me very, very quickly, and they did a tremendous job. I loved all the beats of it. I loved that Hanan got to like beat the fuck out of Ano effectively for a lot of the beginning of it. I was like, oh damn, she's like ring generaling this, like she a big part of the story going into this match was that Hanan wasn't going to be the underdog because you're always going to see Hanan as the underdog. She's 19 years old. She is wrestling someone with insane experience. She's the challenger, all of that. But the story has been that Hanan wants to prove that she could beat pretty much anybody. I mean, she beat Natsupoi. You know what I mean? She got a visual on Julia. If that match was a 15-minute and 5-second time limit, she beat Julia. You know what I mean? I think that it did a great job of putting Hanan over as like, no, I'm an actual threat. Don't think of me as an underdog by having her be such a badass in the first half of this match. I'm gonna let you talk a little bit because I talk a lot. I apologize, but that's
Yeah,
my initial thoughts on Hanan's performance. It was tremendous, especially.
Hanan made believers of everybody, which is a very difficult thing to do. I think the backdrop salvo that she did, where she did the four backdrop
Mhm.
drivers in a row, was like, okay, this could be it. And when you get people into your match at that level, you're golden. And I do think her, like, the yelling and the pumping people up and the fighting spirit was the kind of showing that even if you lose, you gain so much from this match. This was the match that put Hanan on the map, if there ever was one. Um, so I think her performance was excellent, and I actually give a lot of credit to Sareee Ano as well.
As do I. I
Because
I realized that sounded like I was like completely
no, it's fair, and I
not
wanted to do the
recognizing it,
Ano
but
thing
Otto was
anyway, so
tremendous. Go
I'll
ahead.
I'll give Ano, because I've seen Sareee Ano be this kind of ice cold, confident champion before, and she
Mm.
takes that aura into her matches usually, and she hadn't done that in this white belt run. She's been very plain, very normal wrestler. This was the first time where I felt that kind of aura off her, where she's like, "I'm winning. I know I'm winning. I want you to like test me, you know? There was a part where she was on the rope, I think, and Hanan was like trying to hit her, and she was just sitting there like, okay, like go harder, try harder, So I liked Ano being the kind of like, I know I'm gonna win. I have that confidence about me, but I want you to entertain me, and I think that was a really good heel performance on her end. I think definitely added a lot to the match was that energy of Ano knowing she was going to win, but Hanan still fighting so hard against it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that like you bring up a good point. That's like the way I view this match was that like in kayfabe was that Hanan was winning the physical match for most of the match, and she probably would have won the physical match, but she lost the mental one, which is
Mhm.
kind of Ano's thing, and I don't think we've seen that so far in Stardom. Uh, we've seen Ano is a good wrestler so far, but I think that like that aspect of it, like the real like emotional, the mental, the the art, the nuance of wrestling, hasn't really been shown as much by Ano in a way that I know it can be until this match. I think this was Ano's best singles performance to date in the company. Um, and yeah, because like at the end, right? Hanan was hitting those backdrop drivers. She hit one of the teardrop backdrop drivers, which is her finish. But then she was like, but then she kicks out. Ano kicks out of her best shot, right? So Hanan hits her with another one. And that realistically would have beat Ano. But because Hanan was kind of like shaken that the first one didn't beat her, she went for a second one. And Ano took advantage of that. Ano just, you know, got out, rolled her up, beat her.
Mhm.
That puts Hanan over so well because physically, I believe if Hanan had pinned Ano off of that second teardrop driver, she would be champion. But because she was like not confident in that shot and you know she picked Ano up one more time and Ano instinctively got her with the pottering, Hanan lost. And like that's like a way to really put over Hanan as a real beast physically. Like she can beat you. She could beat anybody. But it also puts Ano over as a genius and somebody who is very smart and very much like just gonna play the long game. You know, if she gets an opportunity, she's gonna beat you, and it's over. That one mistake, one unforced error, and Ano wins. I think that story in the finish, super well done. Um, and physically, everything else was tremendous as well. I really love this match.
Yeah, it was great. Like, they got everybody back in after the heroics of Mayu, Sareee, and Tsukasa, and again, I can't heap enough praise on them for that because that is difficult. It's really
Yeah.
hard to get a dead crowd back alive. It's why very specific wrestlers are usually sent out in those circumstances. And they did it here. Um, and I don't think there's much else to say because yeah, I think this put Hanan onto that next level, and it really sparked Sareee Anou for the first time in her Stardom run, from what I've seen. So mission accomplished there.
Two of
And we
the
should probably get
top
on.
5 Ano matches have been against Hanan, like singles matches
Yeah,
at least.
yeah, they
Uh,
work really well together.
yeah,
The post match then, Ano was looking for a challenger. Natsupoi, I don't know if she like rolled onto stage. I can't remember, but she
she did.
definitely did something out of left field, and it was like, here we go. The excitement is here. And I can't remember where she came from, but Ami Sourei busts in
Right
after
from
that.
the back. That was the funny thing. Poi came from like the side and she like
Yeah.
snuck in basically. Ano did the walk of the shadowy figure walking into frame, and it's like, oh, what the fuck, man? Like I was excited for a second. I was like, ooh, who else is gonna throw their hat in the ring? Is that Hazuki? It's probably that. And then it was Ami sorry.
Some of the reactions were very funny. It was like, no, get her out of here. Do not get a job. Stay away from her. Um, so yeah, I mean, Ami showed up, and I feel like they teased enough that Natsupoi and Ano is the big end goal anyway. Because people like reacted when Natsupoi showed up. It was like, okay, this is the real stuff now, and Ano seemed into it. Now, it looks like they're going to do a number one contenders match between Poi and Ami, which you'd imagine Natsupoi wins, or you'd hope Natsupoi wins.
Yeah, that happens Friday, I think.
Oh, okay, that's good. And apparently, at one point, Ami Story had to be like, "Hey, I'm not that boring," which is never a great thing to say as a wrestler. You- not good.
I feel for Abby because like her good days are really good. Like she can have good matches. Um,
But you're not
but her baseline
Natsupoi.
is very boring. Yeah.
Yeah. Natsupoi did do a Poi and left, and the other two were very confused. But Siri
Oh, we
Ano
forgot that
was
Aja
trying
Kong
to.
said bye poi and lost and left after her match, and it was the
She did.
coolest thing ever.
We love Aja Kong. She's very funny.
Yeah, legend.
Um, Hannah or Siri Ano put Hanan over in the post match a lot. She was like, "Hey, when I was
Mhm.
19, I had no idea. Like I would just dress up and shit." Hanan, she's a Cinderella winner at 19. That's magical. She's insane. So fair play to Siri Ano. She really put her opponent over here. Um, and that was kind of everything there. Apparently, Ami Sourei felt that she was allowed to challenge because she was the runner-up of Cinderella, which
Which makes
I don't think
sense.
that
Like
should be how it works, but
I don't think it's unfair though. Like it makes enough sense.
yeah. I never liked that though, because New Japan would do it. It would be like, "Hey, I lost the G1, but I beat you, so I'm going to challenge you anyway." And it's like,
Yeah.
why would you bother winning the tournament if you don't have to and challenge anyway? But that's pro
See,
wrestling. That is how.
theoretically, and not to obviously we are short on time, but theoretically, the winning a tournament should be for challenging on a big stage. That's the
Yeah, I
reason.
guess.
That's the only reason why I can see a difference. That's why like last year it made no fucking sense. The Cinderella was completely killed in my opinion because Mirai just challenged on another pay per view. Like that didn't
Well, the
really matter that
Cinderella, I
much.
guess, is different because you get a wish. And if your
Yes,
wish is to challenge for a belt, then the runner-up shouldn't also get to challenge. But
this is
maybe,
true, but
I don't know.
also Hanan this year specifically said that she felt undeserving of challenging for the white belt until she won the Cinderella. So
Mm.
because she could have walked out and been like, "Hey, I want a Cindy match, or I want a white belt match," but she felt like she wasn't worthy of it until she won the Cinderella. So Ami Sourei just thinks she's worthy all the time. That's what I'm learning, is that Ami Sourei has a false sense of confidence in herself.
She is God's chosen bodyguard, to be
Correct.
fair. Was it God's chosen bodyguard or God's chosen big woman? I can't remember.
She was the bodyguard chosen by God, or the big woman
Because
chosen
I
by
think
God.
it said big woman, and we were all like, I don't think you're meant to say that
Oh,
about people.
she was, yeah, I think the big woman is a different nickname. I think the bodyguard chosen by God is
Okay,
was her nickname.
that's fair. Um, that was all that match anyway, though. We
Mhm.
both enjoyed that. Great stuff. The main event out of the show was the World of Stardom Championship match. Micah beat Momo Watanabe in 2 falls to 1. Momo won the normal fall. Micah won the hardcore fall, and then Micah won the last woman standing fall to retain the championship. So I would agree this match has split opinion. You said it was as good as the Meltier tag match. I think that's kind of insane. Um,
No,
that's
you want to know something that will actually make you mad?
why are you trying to make me mad?
A
Like,
little
what
bit.
is?
Uh, Ozaki and Momino is definitely better than this match.
Okay, that's insane. That's just not
It
true.
was definitely better than
I
this
don't.
match.
How?
Because
How?
I felt about as let down by the finish in both matches, so that completely negated everything. Physically, that match was a lot better. It was a lot more fun.
Okay.
If if this 3 stages of hell match was just not that, and it was just the first fall for 10 extra minutes, this would be one of my favorite matches of the year. But it was not that.
Right.
It was also
Well,
2 other falls.
I enjoyed this match. I thought it was great. I thought the three falls presented very different pacing. That kept the 35-minute runtime pretty okay. The first
Yeah,
fall was your standard main event stuff, big power stuff, from both of them. Second fall I thought was rather engaging plunder. Plunder is kind of the easy way out a lot of the time, but you can still do it quite badly. And I thought they did fairly well with it. I
I
thought
think
the
that's where we
third fall
differ.
was really interesting because it was like these are both beaten and battered. There's nothing creative. They're just throwing their big shots to see who will outlast the other one. And I thought it was really interesting. So,
Funnily enough, I think that people, and like this is from what I could tell of talking to people, I think people differ on what fall they think was the most impactful, either negatively or positively.
mm,
Um, I felt like the second fall wasn't good. I thought that the third fall was pretty cool, but I think that would have been cooler if the second fall connected with me more than it did. Um, Whereas, like, I talked to Scott, he hated the third fall. I've talked to various people who disliked and liked differing falls, especially of the last two. I think everybody was like, "Oh yeah, the first fall very good," because it was a very
mm,
good straight up singles match, 15 minutes. It was like
it
a
was
high end 5 star GP block match of
definitely, yeah.
theirs. And then the other two have differing opinions. I thought that what they did for the last fall made sense if like Micah was bloodied, or if I had genuinely thought that they had gone through a war in that second fall. I think then the third fall would be like gritty and engaging and super cool. I just didn't feel that. It felt like the most basic plunder you could possibly do, and then Micah got the fall, and then they both went to their corners, and they're like, "Okay, and now we're tired." And I was just like, "But that's not that's not how I felt. That's not how it like that." Just vibe wise, I think that there was something missing there in that second fall that generally made the match worse. I will say, I say this was worse than this. It was as good as this, and what all three of the matches I have mentioned in that like comparison were very good. I like them all quite a lot.
Okay, one
Um,
of them wasn't, but we can.
that's because you don't know ball. Um,
That's
but
great.
yeah, I
Actually, two of
know.
them weren't. I don't think either of them was. this
You
this
don't
is
know
just
ball
weird.
twice.
Like, cause
Um,
Mio Nozaki was fine. Like, I don't know. Watched
I
it
think I think
unspoiled. It
Mio
was
and
fine.
Ozaki, it's hilarious how much people are like obsessed with it. I just thought it was a very good
I
match.
feel like it's
Um,
kind of just died like a balloon. Like, people just aren't interested. I feel like most people just didn't watch it, and those who did have been like,
it
"Yeah,
was it was
it's
like the
fine."
second most attended
But yeah, no, in
Oz
Japan,
Academy match in
obviously,
like
but
10
like
years.
on Twitter, like on Twitter, everybody was just
Well,
like,
yeah,
"Okay,
that's because everybody
sure,
on Twitter has the shortest attention span. Nobody knows what they did yesterday for lunch, okay?
all right,
Let alone
okay."
3
But
days ago for
a
a
lot of
wrestling
the people
match.
who watched the first one didn't watch the second one. That's what I mean. Like,
That's
I
because the
don't,
first one
I
was
don't
bad.
think it was. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's pretty fair.
The second
Yeah,
one
I thought it
was
was
a
like
lot better.
okay, you know,
Um,
just the interference was kind of a bit much.
I felt like it was played correctly, the interference. It
I
would
guess.
have been played better if Miyamoto won. I mean, there's conversations to be had about Ozkemi, but we'll do that another time. Um,
No, we
but
won't.
yeah, no, I liked. I know he won't. I liked Oz Academy Quest. No, I liked this match quite a lot, but there were things that really frustrated me about it, and I think Passion summed it up very properly. That it's like it's very hard to buy into Stardom hardcore matches because, like, the ladder was like my height, man. Like, like they did a
Okay, but
superplex that was just
I feel
off the
like them
top rope.
landing on the things was enough to get me. Like the
The
visual of
things looked
landing
like
on stuff.
like pieces of like they looked like Legos would have
Yeah,
been
but
more effective.
I think when you're falling from a ladder onto anything, it's gonna be made
Yes.
worse by jagged things like digging into you. Like I feel like the visual was enough
I
to make
think
up
I
for it.
think that the second round, the second fall, struggled with a Mick Foley philosophy that you have to find things that look like they hurt far worse than they actually risk to your health.
Yeah,
Um,
I guess.
like I feel like they were just missing that. It felt like yes, like I think I talked to Velke about that. That's like I bet that those little plastic or glass pieces, whatever they were, the little ornament things that didn't break or anything,
Orbs.
yeah, the orbs, I imagine they hurt more than they looked like they hurt, which is not good because that means that requires me to like think logically and not just be like, "Holy fuck, that's probably hurts a lot," which I think is like part of the allure of hardcore matches. And I think they just kind of missed. I think it's because Starm's house style is not accustomed to hardcore matches. Um, I don't think either of these wrestlers are particularly accustomed to hardcore matches. It's just I think that second fall really shook the match, and I think the last fall needed the second fall to be better for me to be like, this was a great match that I will remember for a while. It's like this was a good match that I will probably forget by the end of the year,
I guess. I liked it a lot more than that. I thought it was
hmm
entertaining,
which is valid.
kind of
Yeah,
for the entire time, which is kind of all I ask. Is as I was entertained. The first fall was obviously the best one, but I did think the other two kept things going relatively well. And the final fall I thought was really well done. Like Momo kicking the shit out of Micah was a great bit, and Micah just dropping her
man.
like that was
Oh,
all
I wrote a
good
note.
stuff.
I said Momo threw one kick that even Arisa Hoshiki would believe in.
Yeah, like
Um,
she was killing her. Like
And
Momo
I
was
like
on her
it
shit.
got me. It got me for
Yeah.
a second. I was like, Momo's here, and we might do this." And then she just got obliterated.
That's fair.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about the finish. We don't have to. It's another Momo loss in a red belt match. Who
Yeah,
would have
no,
thought? But
I
it's
think
just
overall this did a lot for both of them. I think they both come away looking really good. Like Micah gets to outlast, one of the big heels of the company, and Momo gets a pinfall win over the world champion. I think they both gained a
that's
lot
so
from this.
frustrating in hindsight
It
that
is,
she just
but
beat her.
this is very much one of those where I can see the benefits of it from
Yeah,
Stardom's perspective because you got a big main event and you made both of them look better coming
and
out
I
of it.
mean, the heel reaps what she sows, right? She's the one who was like, "We should do a three stages of hell match."
As he said, I want
I
to
want to,
destroy this venue with
yeah.
your body, and then couldn't hold up her end of the deal.
She
So
just beat her, but then
yeah.
yeah, exactly. She didn't deliver. And I think that's like a cool story. I think one thing I will give Taro Okada and the new administration credit for is that each of the three big title matches, um, the challenger who lost still looked great. Like there was
Mhm.
still like a redeemable factor for them. Nobody lost completely
That's
and
not something you
utterly.
can do all the time. That has
No,
to be
and
done
that's
sparingly,
that's
or
also why I
everything
think
is 50-50.
The Shuri match is better than Sareee because or because Shuri just actually got beat fully, completely. There was no question. She she looked worse coming out of that match because she got beat so bad.
Yeah.
But
She's
that
kind of
was
done
okay
nothing
because
since.
it was like the best match of the year. So like that
Yeah,
that was okay. But I do think that for this show, good job on the last three matches,
hmm
especially really keeping the challenger looking great.
definitely. I do think Micah's red belt reign is doing a really good job of building her to what they want her to be. And I don't think people will fully appreciate it until it's over, and they
Yeah,
go,
because you're
"Oh,
saying it's better
they
than the
made her
Utami
into it."
reign, and it's not.
Okay, I think match quality wise, it is very much on par. And I think Utami similarly had to be built up throughout her reign. Like she didn't overnight become the big
Mm.
star; she became the big star during the reign. Um, I think Micah's going to do the same because people just aren't used to seeing people win the belt who haven't been waiting for 2 years. Like Shuri, it was like okay, she's a big deal. Get the belt on her. Julia, obviously, we all knew she was a big deal. Get the belt on her. Same with Tam. Whereas Micah, it wasn't. She's been waiting for 2 years. Please, for the love of God, belt her up. You know, it was kind of different. So I think people's expectations are just different. Um, but I feel like they will appreciate this reign when it's done, and they realize just how much it's elevated her to. I don't know if I would say like yeah, I would say top four status now. She's probably one of the top four. You
Top
know,
four of
the new
what?
big four. I don't know, their
Of
new
the
big
company?
four.
In the
They've
company?
had to
Yeah,
replace.
yeah. I mean, obviously, she's the champion.
Yeah, like they've had to replace Utami and Julia, and I think
I,
she's
I
one of them.
think I think her winning here was necessary to making sure that she isn't like you know, she wasn't
Yes,
just a means to an end. I think
this
that
was
was
her first
important.
credible threat, and she
Yes,
lasted it because a lot of
yes, and
people
I think
followed
that
that hurdle.
fundamentally is really
So
cool. Yeah,
yeah,
good for her.
but that was that show. A lot of thoughts on that show. I kind of did a big review of it for Voices of Wrestling, and I think it's a show that has to be built on because it set up a lot of interesting stuff for Stardom to do to get people back in after the relatively tame build. Um, I think they have done a decent job of getting there. So it's kind of difficult because the two shows that have happened aren't up. It's one happened earlier today, but I do think they've set up enough through these two shows that makes me think they're really humming since this, and that Taro has kind of got into his groove. So, two big things: Saki Kashima is injured; she wasn't on either
Mm.
show. Rocka is now injured, and she missed today's show. Um, so yesterday's show was on April 29th in Fukuyama. This is in front of 462 fans. The opener, Azumi beat Rani Yagami, pretty standard.
Oh
Um,
wow.
Koguma beat Rian then in 6.5 minutes with the 120% schoolboy. Suzu Suzuki and Miyu Amasaki got a solid win over Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurara. Didn't they just do that 2 weeks ago? Oh no, it's
Not with
Suzu
Miyu
and
and
Miyu.
Suzu.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't realize. Suzu is teaming with Queen Quest, and I'm kind of interested in that.
Yeah.
Um,
I,
I don't.
I I think I
We don't
think
really
I
have
am
time
interested in
to
Suzu.
jump
I
in.
feel like either like Crazy Star leaves Stars and or not Crazy Star, FWC leaves Stars because Kid joins back in and it becomes a crazy faction, or uh they run Crazy Star aligning with Queen's Quest, or they
Hmm.
run Ano aligning with Queen's Quest. I think there's something happening there.
Definitely. We then had Thekla and Momo Watanabe beating Saya Kamatani and Lady C. Thekla got the win for her team in 12 minutes as she starts kind of her push, I guess. Based on the pictures, she has cool new gear, so I'm already all
Yes.
in on this turn. Um, Thekla
She's
did
on
kind of
Frog
make
Watch.
allusions after the match to facing Micah, but I think she's walked that back, and I imagine it'll be an artist match at most.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the Micah match would make sense, but I don't really
Kind
want to see
of.
that.
Her beef is more with Mina, so I think it would be
Yeah, but
a
her
bit
beef
out of
should
place.
realistically be with not beef, but I mean, Micah was
She
her
wants to kill
homie,
the idols, not the Micahs. But
not
anyway,
her ex homie.
no. We then had Mayu, Hazuki, Hanan, Ida, and Momokogo beat Micah, Mini Shirakawa, Xena, Waka, and Hanako. Hanan got the win for her team with the 17, so that
Over
she keeps
Mina
winning
Shirakawa.
over Mina. And that led to a challenge for the artist belts. Mayu, Ida, and Hanan are going to challenge for the artist belts next. So
So
that's
five of
pretty cool.
the six active members of Stars are getting a top match at Fukuoka.
That they are. Then in I think the main event, no, not the main event. Natsuko Tora and Rocca beat Tam Nakano and Starlight Kid. Rocca actually pinned Kid with a freezer bomb in 14 minutes. After this match, Oedo Tai beat up Starlight Kid, and out came Mayu Iwatani to make the save, and basically said that the match at Yamaguchi will be a 3-on-3. So Mayu will team with Kid and Tam to take on Oedo Tai there. So
Wait, where is that going to be?
Yamaguchi, Mayu's home prefecture.
Oh yeah. So there's the big Mayu. Yeah, homecoming.
Mhm. In our main event, then Siri Amisore and Konami beat Siri Ano, Natsupoi, and Yuna Mizumori. Uh, Konami beat Yuna in 12 minutes with the triangle answer, so they keep building up Konami there following her return. Now, I know we
Uh,
blasted through that. There are two shows, a lot of news, and I think we'll just round it up at the end, maybe, if that's okay.
yeah. So Fukuyama is in Hiroshima, I think, and
Yeah.
that's her hometown. So that's
Ah,
why
okay.
uh Konami got the big. Yeah. In fact, this is her hometown. I think this was the venue that they ran Kagetsu versus Konami in the 30.
Possibly.
It might be. Uh, I might be wrong, but it
Now,
looks like it. But okay.
today's show isn't on the website, so I'm going through the Stardom Twitter. So please
Hopefully
forgive me because they tweet a lot.
they do.
Now, the opening match was Hanako beating Rian in 6.5 minutes. Just remember, Rocket is off this show, so they did kind of have to rejig it at the last minute. We then had the team of Saida, Hanan, and Momokogo beat Saya Kamatani, Lady C, and Miwa Masaki. Ida got the win with the Idabashi over Lady C in 8 minutes. And after that, she made allusions to challenging Saya Kamatani for the high speed title.
Wait, who did?
And Saya Ida, who won with the
Okay.
Idabashi
Oh
over
yeah,
Hanan.
I did hear about that.
Yeah. Azumi beat Aya Sakura in just under 6 minutes with a rebellious clutch, whatever that is.
Huh.
Then we had an interesting one. Waka Tsukiyama and Maika beat Siri and Rana Yagami. Waka got the win for her team in 9.5 minutes with the Moonlight Dream over Rana.
Don't love
And
that.
in the post-match promo, Maika was like, "Oh, I missed it. I was too busy fighting Siri." So I wonder if that's them setting up Siri versus Maika, maybe.
Probably. It would make sense. I mean, well, but that would kind of get in the way of the Shuri Mayu idea. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Um. Yeah. As Momokogo hasn't looked very happy, but that's another thing for another day.
Yeah,
We have
she's
three.
upset that everybody is doing high speed stuff now, and that she can't be
I
like
see.
the novel high speed
She
wrestler.
knows she can just like walk out and challenge
Yeah.
XP champ.
Uh, I don't know.
But anyway, we had Ami Sori and Konami beat Natsupoi and Unimon, and the team of Mina and Xena. Konami won with a buzzsaw kick on Unimon. Don't
Poor
think they set
Unimon,
anything
man.
up. No,
Yuna is the designated Konami loser.
that's true. I don't think they set up anything after that match. The Oedo Tai team of Natsuko, Momo, and Thekla beat Starlight Kid, Tam Nakano, and Sayaka Kurara. Thekla got another win for her team with a Dokugumo Death Drop over Sayaka Kurara. And then there was the main event, which saw Mei Seira, Soriano, and Suzu Suzuki beat Mayu Iwatani, Hazuki, and Koguma. Mei Seira won with the shooting star on Hazuki. So it's an interesting little prelude, I guess, to the tag title match where she kind of gets the first win.
Yeah, that's an interesting win for the I they're not unaffiliates, and they're not freelancers anymore, but for those three.
Hmm.
Um, because it makes me kind of think FWC might win the belts,
It
which
could.
I'm rocking with it. I think Crazy Star is tremendous, but I mean, I'm never opposed to FWC becoming like the winningest tag team in Stardom history because they're the most consistent
Hmm.
since like God knows how long ago. Um, yeah, hey, I'm excited to see that match, the trios match, because that sounds fucking great, by the way.
Yes. Rocka in her post-match promo, by the way, said, "Cade, you're the reason why I got hurt. Once I'm healed, I'm going to completely destroy you," which is pretty standard heel logic.
Yeah.
I'm just going through all the comments now to see if I missed anything because there was a lot. Um, Thought it might be good to try a Starlight Kid tag match with Yamaguchi. So Mayu and Tam as the third. So they are
Mm,
definitely doing Mayu, Tam, and Kid at Yamaguchi.
yes. Oh,
They
and
got
one
us.
thing from the Meisera versus Umasaki match, which we just don't have time to
No.
review in depth. You didn't watch it anyway. Great match. I recommend anybody who can get their hands on it to watch it. But Meisera, who lost to Umasaki, said that she would like it if Umasaki challenged for the Gods belts, if Crazy
Hmm.
Star can retain them until Umasaki uh, makes her way back to Stardom in some form. So that is a reason why FWC might not win, is because Crazy Star might have a challenge from Humasaki and someone. I'm kind of looking at the kid,
Takase, maybe?
maybe.
Maybe they
Tsukasa
do
would be
Luminous?
awesome.
Yeah, I
That
could
would be
see it.
sick. But I could also
Um,
see them just doing kid now that kid's a babyface and it kind of works better.
Possibly, yeah.
And karma doesn't have to be a thing anymore.
So the reason I kind of blew through those two shows is I have some thoughts kind of about Grand Queendom and what's come after, and how that applies to the criticisms that people had towards Taro, kind of before the show. But I think I'll just wait. We just take a quick break and then I'll get onto that. The one thing with Taro that I think is he should be complimented on based on the past two shows is he's definitely shown a lot more get up and go about setting things up. I mean, I think All Star Grand Queendom gave him a chance to put his stamp on things, and we're starting to see him play into that now. I mean, Thekla getting wins is, a minuscule thing, but at least it's a direction. It gives the house shows
Yeah.
a lot more direction than they had. He set up, the Mayu hometown match. We've got Hazuki tweeting about, the kid storyline. We have tag challengers. We have artist challengers. We have Micah and Sareee teasing a match. We have Micah and Thekla teasing a match. We have a high speed title match set up. Like, there's very few things currently that he's not setting up for the big show. That's very soon, I will admit. Flashing Champions is a lot sooner than people think, but he's definitely worked very quickly to go, okay, here's the directions that I want to go in, and we're going to move towards that.
Yeah, I agree. But also it's Golden Week, so it's kind of like the easiest week to do that, like because you have to. Um,
He
or
also
else it's
had
like,
to for Grand Queendom, and he
and
really
he
left that
didn't.
last minute. So I
But
think he
but what I
deserves
mean by
credit.
that is that it's like this is the most like compact. It's also coming off of a show. I agree with you. I think that like coming off of that show, they're trying to build something, and I appreciate that. In comparison to it feeling like for a long time they slept walked their way into that big show, and the big show had its issues because of that. Um, I think that initially these first couple shows post the big show and the big show itself, what happened, some of the post match stuff and whatnot. I think it's good, right? Um I personally think Ami Sourei versus Natsupoi, under the condition that Natsupoi wins, is a good match to book for a number
Hmm.
one contendership match, right? Because like you said, like you don't think that the runner up should get a Wonder title match. Well, she's not. She's getting a number one contenders match, which I think sure. Like when you're right coming off of a singles elimination tournament, there should be number one contenders matches like that. Of two very capable participants. I think that's a smart little thing that he has done. And I think there are stuff like that. So I agree with you to some degree, but I also wonder how much of that is that it's coming off of the biggest show of the year and he's had two shows in a row that he's been able to like really come off of that with some momentum into these two shows. And I wonder if it's going to keep going throughout the weeks and throughout the months going forward. Because I see what you're talking about. I commend him as well. Start to Golden Week so far is insightful and it has stuff is actually going on. I think that's cool.
Definitely. I feel like now that he's been able to get his pieces in place, he's a lot more likely to, book actual stuff now. It just seems like he has his ideas now that he wants to make instead of trying to finish blueprints that were already set up. But as you say, it will be something that he had. I mean, I won't just give him credit for one good week. He definitely has to keep it up. But I think it's a positive sign that people can really hang their
Yeah.
hat on. Um, So there was a Rossi watch to do because they had a press conference earlier today, and it's kind of a brief thing. There's not much to discuss. They basically just confirmed that the six actress girls that initially jumped are now on the roster, and they changed the name of Koki to Koki Amarai. I think that is maybe not
Amare.
Amarai. Yeah, like
Amare.
May Amarai.
Amare. Yeah.
Amare. Yeah, I guess.
Amare. Yeah.
Um,
Close to
so
Amare.
that's kind of the only big change is they changed her name, and I guess Natsumi Shozuki is now Natsumi Shozuki, but we kind of I think she had said that already in the graphics. She was
Yeah.
Shozuki, so we knew. Um,
Suzuki's
the
her
other,
wrestling name was basically what she got
yeah,
at.
that's such shady business. Um, there is, I guess, Cat Mask Calico to come, but she hasn't joined yet. She did a
Mhm.
big like going away show with Actress Girls and was like, I'm going to be a wrestler now, basically, and she unmasked. So I imagine Cat Mask will join soon, and we'll discuss her kind of when that's official. The other thing that they did was they gave everybody jersey numbers in Marigold. And I think this is cool. I like this. I think it's a smart business thing because you can just sell merch pretty easily. Like you can do Victoria Yuzuki number
And
one, and people will buy it.
this is an old Rossi tactic.
Mhm.
There were license numbers in Argian. Um, though in Argian it was usually outside of extenuating circumstances, usually like appearance based. So like number one was I
Ah,
believe Yoshida because she
yeah.
was the first wrestler like that was announced for the company. But eventually, as it got like a little bit higher, I want to say someone like Linus Asuka was like, "Oh, I want to be 100. I want to be 76 or whatever." Like she's like, "I want to be 100." So as time went on, people kind of chose their numbers and whatever. But
Mhm.
yeah, so this is a tactic that they use in Argian, which me and Xavi big fans of.
Yeah.
We love the license numbers. We were trying to find out everybody's license number. We were trying to find out Leon's license number, for example. We were saying our own license numbers and shit. So me and Xavi, when we heard about that, we were on call together last night, and we popped off. We were so excited because jersey numbers
That's
are sick.
beast.
I love them in wrestling.
There. I do think it's a good merch opportunity as well,
Yeah.
which is something you should consider with business decisions. The interesting thing with the jersey numbers is they very much were like, we have left 18 clear. 18 is the ace number, and we have left it clear just in case anybody was unsure about the fact that we are signing Mayu Iwatani when she leaves. So, further evidence that Mayu will be joining Marigold when she's finished up with Stardom, because yeah, they left her number clear. Now, if
That
you
is so
like
funny.
me, if if you like me don't know baseball, because at the ace number to me is more like a 10, right? Because in
Yeah, I was
football
thinking the
it's
same thing.
10.
It's a Japanese baseball thing, especially.
Yeah,
Not
but
even as much of an
apparently
American baseball thing.
in Japanese baseball, the number 18 is like
Is
the
the ace number.
best pitcher on the team, and that is the
Mm.
ace apparently. So that's why it's the ace number, and
See,
they
and like
left it clear.
in American football, I usually associate like ace as like quarterback, and that's usually like the one, or
Yes,
like
yeah,
a single digit. So yeah, it is specifically Japanese baseball. Also, Mirai picked 17 because Shohei Otani and her grew up in the same home prefecture, and that's Otani's number, uh, which I
nice.
think is kind of cool. Yeah, there's little like reasonings and stuff like that to
Yeah.
some of the numbers, but I don't
Some of them
remember
are
all of
just
them.
there.
Yeah.
Chiaki being 89 is so chaotic, but also I'm disappointed they didn't go with 99 because that feels very Chiaki. Number
Yes.
99, very Chiaki. Rossi is 64. Is that because he's 64? Is he 64?
I feel
Am
like
I
he's
way
older than
off?
64.
Really? Maybe.
I feel like he's like
Um,
67.
Possibly. They also get the foreigners numbers, which I think is funny. Bozilla is
Yes.
31, just in case y'all were wondering.
He's turning 67 this week.
Ah,
Um,
okay.
yeah.
And
But
yeah,
yeah,
I guess just
I like the
64.
yeah,
It's
I don't know
neat.
why.
But
I
they
know I
officially
was like he
now have
wasn't born in
6
'64,
people.
but
No,
yeah.
I hope not, because he was working for AJW from like 69
S-
or 79, was it?
79. Yeah.
78, 79. Yeah, so he would have been like 10. So, but yeah, that was the Marigold thing, the Rossi watch. I thought it might be bigger, but it isn't. There'll be more Marigold. They have an event on the 5th. It's like a public event that people have bought tickets to.
Hmm.
And they're at this event going to reveal the card.
Yes.
Which is kind of
And
an
that is
interesting thing because I don't think Rossi has ever done that before. He's just done pressers, but it is a thing in other companies. I know
yeah.
Gato Move used to do the live streams to announce the cards. I know Kenta Kobashi announced Fortune Dream with a live video, and he would just like put the match graphic up. So it is a thing that some people do.
Yeah, and they also have the Noah show the day before, day after. When is the
I have
Noah
no
show?
idea. The Monday Magic
Wrestle Magic.
thing. It would be the day after because it's Monday Magic, I would assume.
Yeah, but they aren't running on Monday
Why the fuck?
because it's not called Monday Magic.
that
It's Wrestle
is
Magic.
that is horrendous. Please
Wrestle
kill
Magic is on the
Noah.
4th. Uh,
Yeah, so the day before, yeah.
yeah. Also, don't kill Noah. They're actually starting to cook for the first time in a while.
Yeah, but they
Um,
ruined my life, so
but yeah, so they're running that, which is Julia Utami, Mirai, and Mai Sakurai versus Nogisa Nozaki, the Great Sakuya, who's Riko Kawahara, uh, Miyu Tsukasa and Takumi Iroha. So that'll be a fun, you know, launch match for
Yeah, and the idea is that
them.
they'll probably work with all four of those women as their normal forms down the
Oh
line.
wait,
But,
uh, Rossi's birthday is right now. Yeah, it's today.
oh, congrats,
Happy birthday to that guy.
Rossi.
Yeah.
Um, so there are a few shows happening in the coming week in Stardom. There's not full cards for any of them, so we'll just kind of go through what we have. Well, I guess we'll just go through the main stuff, will we? There's no point in talking about Hanan and Rian versus Aya and Sayaka. Like, who
Yeah.
cares? So, first show is on the 3rd. This is the Yamaguchi show. This is the Mayu Iwatani hometown return. They have said that Mayu will get streamers for this show, so we're gonna get the return of the streamer Tornado.
Wait, what day is? Wait,
Um,
this is. Oh wow.
3rd.
Oh, so they're gonna run the trios match,
I
the
don't
big
know,
one.
to be honest. Um, this card so far has Ami Sourei versus Natsupoi in the number one contenders match, and
Yeah.
then we're presumably going to add the trios match, but
Yeah.
that's not announced. On the 4th of May, yes, May,
Hmm.
they have the Golden Week Fight Tour in
May the 4th
Kumamoto.
be with you.
Ah, yes, for you nerds. Um, there's actually no big match on this show. They haven't said anything. There's just one Kid and Angels versus Oedo Tai match, and then Thekla is going to beat the shit out of Rana. Um,
Yep.
on the 5th, then in Fukuoka, they currently only have one big match announced, and it is FWC challenging Crazy Star.
However, they
Um,
have it's going to be the other stars team in Fukuoka as well
yeah,
against
we're probably going to
EXV.
get the 3-on-3 because the other members of EXV are booked, but not the artist champions.
Yeah.
So that can't be a coincidence. Um, there is another Oedo Tai versus Kid and Angels tag, just in case you haven't been sensitized to those yet. Um, Stardom then is also that day going to be taking part in Osaka Comic Con with a special match and talk show. The match is Sareee and Rana versus Rian and Momo Kogo.
Mm.
So, a lot happening.
It's Golden Week. And then next week is also all together.
Oh yeah, my God. Do you wanna do that? Because it's just so much.
Yeah. Check Discord real quick. Um,
I saw. Thank you
and
so
then
much.
uh, all together, it will be the seemingly Cosmic Angels team of Starlight Kid and Natsupoi, who will have a team name by the time this event happens, because that's been a big part of their uh, comedy build. Is that Starlight Kid is like, okay, well, you're in charge of picking the name, and then Natsupoi's like, what? I don't think, and then she's like, yeah, but you have to this time. Um, and they will be facing O2 line. So that's that all together. Otherwise, the card for all together, if you like Piro, is pretty cool. Some of it's pretty cool. Um, if you're a
Okay,
big fan of the gays, Zack Sabre Jr. will be wrestling against Taichi in a tag match now that Sonata's injured. Um, so that'll be fun.
I see.
See ex boyfriends fighting each other.
Yeah, very sad, honestly. But you gotta do what you gotta do.
Zack's reunited with one of his old white boys, and it's just like, man, it's gonna be a real sad sight to see.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah,
that's that. Full
yeah,
week ahead between Marigold and Stardom. God knows how we're gonna get through the show next week, but we will find a way. Um, but yeah, with that, it is time to close the show. So, if you
yeah.
want to
I don't
stand,
think
you
there's
may
nothing left.
stand. If you want to sit, you may sit. Leave today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in. Ijo.
Stay golden. Ijo.